What once began as a way to purify America and its citizens became our greatest constitutional faux pas in American history. In the decades leading up to the Prohibition, the amount of alcohol consumed escalated. As America continued to expand, so did the popularity of saloons. They popped up everywhere, especially in the West where men were looking for a form of entertainment. Women started following their men west in the 1880s, where they discovered their men dancing, gambling, and drinking excessively. A movement led by these women to limit the amount of alcohol consumed began and started to spread quickly. They used phrases such as, "Lips that touch liquor will not touch ours," to rally support from their men. As the ideas of temperance grew, it transformed into one of total prohibition. Licensing rates for saloons became expensive, and several states even banned saloons altogether. With the beginning of World War I, people felt that it was unpatriotic to use grain when it was needed elsewhere. Other reasons included just improving the health and hygiene of people. In 1919, the 18th Amendment was ratified, outlawing the production, transportation, and sale of alcohol. The Volstead Act was later added on to the new amendment, specifying which intoxicating beverages were prohibited.
Consumption of alcohol didn't disappear altogether, though, as intended. It simply went underground. Social clubs where you could find alcohol were known as speakeasies, because you had to speak quietly about these places when you were in public. Cleverly hidden speakeasies could be found mostly in cities, such as New York or Chicago, if you knew where to look for them. At one point, rumors claimed there to be over 100,000 speakeasies in New York alone. Speakeasies could be found behind or under shops, or disguised as other businesses. Oftentimes, you needed a password or a secret handshake to be able to enter these speakeasies. Although they were hidden, they didn't discriminate, as women and African Americans were allowed in. Women known as flappers came here to dance the night away, in their short dresses and even shorter hair. Many African Americans brought their jazzy music into these clubs for entertainment.
The wine industry actually grew during this time period. Farming land dedicated to vineyards grew over 700% in just the first 5 years of Prohibition. People found many ways to get the wine they desired. Since there were exceptions to the law for sacramental wine, there was a sudden increase in the amount of wine Catholic churches and other Orthodox congregations were purchasing. Suddenly, the number of certified rabbis also grew significantly. Wine growers got around these strict rules by creating a juice concentrate which they sold. A large warning was put on these concentrates, cautioning the customer to not do a list of specific things so that the juice wouldn't turn into wine.
One of the most important reasons for the Prohibition was the crime rates in America at the time. Crime rates seemed unusually high, and many people blamed alcohol for these offenses. The government figured that without alcohol, a large majority of these problems would go away. Ironically, the exact opposite came true. Crime flourished under these tightened policies, and the adoption of organized crime soon was added on. In order for these speakeasies to get the alcohol they needed, bootleggers snuck alcohol across state and even country lines. Here you can see the many different routes which bootleggers took to transport the liquor, indicated by the black dashed lines. These bootleggers were very creative with transporting their alcohol. Liquor was able to enter America hidden in boats, flasks, hot water bottles, hoses, hollowed-out books, and even coconuts. Not only did the consumption of alcohol rise severely, other crimes such as prostitution, consumption of drugs, robberies, and even murder increased as well. Speakeasies encouraged these behaviors by allowing and even selling drugs, such as marijuana. Women joined in with other criminals by sneakily hiding flasks beneath their skirts. They were then able to bring alcohol into the speakeasies. In Chicago, the infamous Al Capone created an entire bootlegging network stretching all across America and even into Canada. No one was left untouched by these criminal activities. Politicians and cops were known to accept bribes from bootleggers and gang members. Corruption spread even to the Bureau of Prohibition, which eventually had to be completely reformed due to overcorruption.
Eventually, in late 1933, President Roosevelt supported the 21st Amendment, which repealed the 18th Amendment. At last, Prohibition came to an end. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "Little by little, it had dawned upon me that this law was not making people drink any less, but it was making hypocrites and lawbreakers of a great number of people." This came true as crime rates dropped again since organized crime became less prevalent and bootlegging was less profitable. Alcohol came out from its hidden storage and legal bars and taverns came into existence. Unfortunately, even though the Prohibition movement had good intentions, there were many unforeseen consequences that prevented the act from having the desired effect.